Quiet on set.
I'm your host, Marlo Lemon, and you're listening to Wild Voice, the self-help podcast that guides you through life, one spiritual tool at a time.
Yeah, that's the spirit. Give me more. Can't be.
So I'm in this wild ride of parenting right now. There have been seasons that are way easier than others, and some I feel less prepared for. Have you had that season of feeling like things are just snowballing on one another? And you have that dreaded pit in your stomach knowing this is not the end. Our snowball has not reached full capacity, and it has not reached the bottom of the hill. The thing I always fall back on is that guiding post back to intuition, with myself and Nash. With Nash, I keep guiding him back to that. But we spent years and years since he was 2 years old practicing it, using the verbiage, doing my own healing work, and navigating experiences where I could practice incorporating intuition into conversations. On that note, do you know what kids are great for? Telling the truth and calling you out. You know what that is also great for? A pin drop to knowing exactly where we aren't rooted to something that we are talking about or trying to teach them. Anytime I've tried to bring a concept to parenting, and I haven't given it enough time to really get all the kinks sorted out and figured out all the ways I second guess it and am not on board yet, Nash buries me. Calls me out, questions things I haven't even thought about, or just totally turns the conversation on its head. He's been doing this since I've been doing this work, so as long as he could talk or grunt or express his emotions. Really, it's been since I've known him. I just didn't know what he was guiding me to until I got into this work myself. Now at 8, the pin drops just look a little different. Or it might be wrapped up in a bow that hurts my mom heart when he's confused why someone would swing open a door when he said he was in there changing and point and laugh at him in the bathroom at a birthday party. That shit just gets me. The things that are hard to explain, or we might not have experience with ourselves. So our empathy runs deep because we have felt that way at some point before. I talk about in my book experiences with getting picked on when I was younger, and that feeling of being singled out on purpose as I've healed and learned that life is a combo of soul contracts, things we signed up for. Past episode plug if you want more on that. Go back to season 1, I think. And experiencing that feeling because there's something we are meant to take from it. Knowing we can create things we like the feeling of and don't. So that fine line of teaching Nash to recognize his values are unique to him through these moments, while also guiding him to see he has control over how he experiences life and how to emit through his internal world to the external. If what I just said hurt your brain or is a little harder to follow, you're in the right place, don't worry. So how to teach our kids to be intuitive-led? Well, number 1, we need to see that value ourselves. You need to understand your own intuition before you can support theirs. And I'm talking parent to parent. Because remember, I have experience. These little chicklets will eat you alive. So practicing your intuition, understanding it, using it, serves everyone, especially your parenting. The amount of times I am baffled by options and which one is best for Nash is exhausting when I just use my brain. So, intuition is key. To trust myself and my abilities with it allows me to make decisions about all sorts of things. Like, what is he feeling? Is this mine or his? Is this an opportunity to have him make the choice? Is this a talk a lot time or a sit and listen time? What place is this coming from? Do I let him guide the solution or do I? Should we have dessert before dinner? And would he feel loved if I helped clean up his plate this one time instead of telling him to do it? Even though we know we have things we are responsible for. Isn't it nice when someone does it for us? That doesn't mean we expect it every time, but how nice someone takes our plate for us. Because we understand the empathy and effort that goes into living a life where we consider others. Same thing with homework. Seriously, if I could drive anything off a cliff, it would be homework. And food dyes and chemicals. So there would be a few things, but you get the idea. Using our intuition makes parenting not only easier for us, but more aligned for them. We line them up with the exact lessons they are meant to learn in the least amount of time. I even use intuition with homework. Yes, we want to teach structure, but each kid is different. I only have one, but I even know that. One day, Nash might be into doing homework more seamlessly if he gets an hour of downtime from his big day at school, and others, it might be later in the evening or the morning before school. giving him choices, trying things, and seeing what he likes the feeling of more. It's really about checking in, getting him to start to ask these questions to himself so when I'm not around, he knows how to make these decisions, that he grows up to be a human being that is decisive and solid and trusting, knowing what needs to get done and letting that plan unfold in a certain time period. If I know homework needs to be done before he leaves for school the next day, and he gets it done, why do I need to force him to see when I think it should get done? Is that for me or is that for him? Intuitively, I might have some ideas, but most of us learn by trying something and it either feels the way we want or it doesn't. Both are great because both get us to an answer. And sometimes the trip-ups get us to answers quicker than if we just follow what we should do or not do, or what makes the most logic. And that's another thing. I'd like to throw off of a cliff logic in the space of emotions or feelings. As we master our intuition, we can guide theirs. We do it naturally because they're always feeling and watching. They pick up on shit we didn't even notice ourselves because they are closer to this spirit world than we are. The younger they are, the more intuitive led. The older we get, the world gets in the way. Because a world where we don't have a strict routine and order scares people. They see chaos, they see scary movies, they see mayhem and crime. Crime doesn't happen because people are happy or intuitive led. It happens because we have gotten so far from ourselves, so out of our body, that we are just hijacked by our experiences, people, places, thoughts, other people's emotions and words. If we all grounded into our inner knowing, our intuition, our inner compass, that true soul knowing, from that grounded place, the exact opposite would happen. More autonomy actually breeds aligned structure, support, and people not caring so much about what others do or don't. This topic is way bigger than this little convo, but just a little something to pose questions about. Is the way we raise our children supporting them as adults, or just making them obedient roommates? Now, I'm not in the camp of just set it and forget it necessarily, because they were born to each of us for the specific things we have to share and guide and heal through. But it's our job to be intuitive ourselves, so we can guide them to do the same. I don't remember at 8 years old understanding my values and my inner constitution at each stage. Let's be intuitive-led so we can help them see those things. Those things build strong humans, good humans, showing up for life with the least amount of collateral damage. Being an intuitive-led child, they learn their values and empathy. And when they steer off course, we ground into those things, not just right and wrong. I'm sorry, but if we think walking through a situation where our kids are left hanging on whether someone apologizes or not, as an indicator on whether we can heal or move forward, is going to set them up for success, it's actually going to set them up for a lot of confusion and disconnection to themselves. A lot of people wait around to be told I'm sorry to move on. I don't agree with that. Do I want someone who just tells me I'm sorry because they're supposed to? Or someone who looks at me and talks to me about the situation and helps me understand and how they're going to guide this situation differently next time, how they're going to make a different choice, or they're going to understand why they made that choice to begin with. I don't know about you, but I would choose that second one all day long. So I'm going to leave you with what I would start to navigate that birthday party situation with. Changing into a bathing suit at a party in a bathroom with a closed door, friend knocks and they hear, "Don't come in, I'm changing." Then the next thing that happens is the kid swings open the door. It's not locked because this household doesn't have a lock. And the kid points, laughs, and runs out with the door left open for the rest of the room to see. Now, to clearly guide through this, I have to take my mama bear hat off for a minute. Because believe me, knowing all I know, it still takes a lot for me to not say what I want to say. What do I see when I look at this situation? Standing back, and I see it as two energies. Not one that I birthed myself, but just two energies. Well, Nash's energy. He's hard on himself. Hard on himself with school and when he doesn't think he gets things quick enough. So he naturally has that on his field for people to maybe pick on him because he picks on himself. And I think about how do I want to use this to help guide him through knowing he has more control than he realizes, and to also stand with his values and understanding he doesn't do those sort of things and why that is. What can he take from this and start acting on and understanding without just sitting back and waiting for an apology? I would want him to see his attributes and qualities and values that make what happened not feel good and not something he wants to do to someone else. Then I would connect the pieces on what was his biggest feeling: embarrassment. The next thing, I would see where that lives within him before this situation, knowing it was brewing before it came to fruition at this party. Then from there, we flip the scenario to see why the area he's feeling embarrassed about or hard on himself for, and finding all the ways to drown that out with the things he does that are the opposite of embarrassing. Now, just explaining this to you, I know it sounds confusing. And again, I use intuition, and this convo might happen in different stages. I also really like starting with acknowledging, having him label his emotions, understanding them, allowing him to pose those questions when the emotions settle a bit. What would make him feel better in those situations? What is he really upset about? Where has he felt this similar way? It might just be as simple as I'm sorry this happened, and that is not cool. And days later, or hours later, we might chat about another piece. Or sometimes I have to see it clearly and get my emotions out of the way so I can clearly help him, for him, not from my perspective. Lots of layers, lots of intuition, lots of thinking and playing with tools. And this is just a quick stab in the dark, because based on Nash's vibe and where his intuition is guiding me, I gotta use mine to pivot if needed. Now, this isn't a set it and forget it tool. That is why intuition is magical. It's key, it's imperative, and a must. It makes all of this so much easier. Instead of trying to think my way out of it or think about what I need to do first, I understand my intuition and what questions to ask. Therefore, the answer is brought to me, instead of me sifting through a library of tools and information and emotions to try and figure it out on my own. That's why I love intuition. And that's why I love teaching kids to trust theirs and what it even is, what that feeling is in their body. Even when they go against it, that is an opportunity to practice it, to learn it, to understand it, all its intricacies. Now, the other kid. I see this as a deep root in many other things that are coming out in behavior like that. The lack of self-worth, or making other people's embarrassment feed them or boost them. The need for attention, because attention to him is love. And when it's not on him, he can feel unloved or unimportant. The lack of understanding his own values, therefore empathy is missing. Jealousy can also be something that comes up, even as far to say that is going on internally as a lack of boundaries within himself. Therefore, how can we expect him to have them for others? If this kid doing this teaches Nash something and Nash evolves a piece of himself through this, then I would thank that kid. And I know things happen for that exact reason. It's just hard to see sometimes. Also, once Nash gets that lesson, that kid probably won't fuck with him anymore. Maybe another kid, but not Nash, because he will no longer be a match to it. The treasure hunt is over. He got the jewel. But it can be hard to see that until we are on the other side of the lesson. And as parents, it can be hard to watch. So we just keep reminding ourselves that everything is happening for their greater good. And what we do with it is how complete and effortlessly we can move through it together. So we do the work, and we trust we are always in the right place at the right time. That doesn't mean it always feels good. Doesn't mean we like it or understand it right away. But we can see the struggle and the pain and use them to our advantage. Use them for our evolvement and growth and a continuation of our soul path and purpose and overall alignment with self. Then, I think we're doing it right. That releases the pressure valve. It lets us breathe a sigh of relief that our kids are going to be okay. We're going to be okay. If you think I'm raising a child to just follow directions because you're supposed to, those are the kids that cause pain to others or themselves or grow into adults who have a detachment to themselves because they don't relate, care, or understand the why it benefits them and others around them. I teach Nash to be a good person, not just because that's nice and you're supposed to, because I said so, but why? I relate it to his experiences and what he's gone through. I relate it to other family members, to myself. And the stuff that comes from that is an empathetic human who has a backbone and takes responsibility for the life they are living, and not blaming others, and can lock into these values and gifts when I'm not around to remind him. So he has the autonomy to adapt to situations not only be programmed to handle the ones we've talked about, but if he understands the root and his intuition, he can apply that shit to anything. It can feel isolating, and if you're a parent that is doing it different and coming from a place of connection and rooted in intuition, I get it. And even if you're stumbling and tripping and falling and trying, if you're here, it's been a wild ride to get here. Give yourself some grace and credit. We have a lot of our shit to get out of the way and a lot of trust to work on to allow ourselves this freedom to do things differently. And if you aren't there, I get it too. I'm glad you found this episode, but I get it. We don't know what we don't know. But if you're someone who feels like there might be a different way to do things, or want to feel better in the process, or you want to feel like you have more control of how it all comes together for the greater good and higher selves, well, you've come to the right place. Guiding small humans is a real passion. We get working on it now. We've done our part to make this world a better place. And it's never too late to start.
Yeah, that's the spirit.
Okay, just because this episode's over doesn't mean our time together has to be. Find me at marlolemon.com and on Instagram at marlo.lemon. Check the show notes for other ways for us to stay connected. And one more thing, if you found this episode helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Share it on social, review it, tell a friend. The more of us who become soul-aligned, the more beautiful, harmonious, and fulfilling this world becomes. We're in this wild ride of life together. Okay, that's all. I'm your host, Marlo Lemon, and you've been listening to Wild Voice. Okay, I think we got it.